Yo, 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 just finished watching SmackDown. Very predictable. I knew everything that was gonna happen. Um, the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, that was something different. But everything else predictable. Anyways, let's get right into this video. I did not know that.
I should just start cheating too.
Whatever, dude.
Yeah, who this?
Oh, hello? This is Raul from the cab company. They said you bought the business, so I wanted to introduce myself.
All right, cool. Shit. Good to meet you.
It's a solid business. We do well. Some of our regulars can be a little fussy, but
Alright,
We all love good GTA theories, so I've got not 10, not 30, but a whole 50 crazy GTA theories that might actually be true. It's gonna be a long one, guys, so let's just dive right in.
Don't you ever not tell me things I want to know!
This first theory on this list will change your perspective about GTA Vice City forever. In Little Haiti lies Romero's funeral home, which seems pretty normal, but when you get inside the actual cemetery, you can find a human skeleton with one arm missing. Near the funeral home, there is a butcher shop that belongs to the same Romero family. When you zoom in on the items showcased in the shop's display window, you can actually see a human arm there, along with a package that reads "Human organs for transplant," all suggesting that the Romero family is actually running some sort of human organ trafficking business. They probably use their heirs to transport the goods, making it the perfect cover for their illegal operations. That's pretty dark, don't you think? You remember Johnny Klebitz, the hotshot from Lost MC Bikers Gang, who we really came to love in GTA 4? However, he became a junkie and was killed by Trevor when he decided to confront him at the worst possible time. But hold on, did Trevor actually kill him? Apparently not. This new theory has surfaced that suggests Johnny was still alive after getting brutally stumped by Trevor. That's hard to believe, right? Well, I wouldn't have either, but here's a video that shows him still blinking his eyes, which suggests Rockstar actually left the decision on us to actually kill him or leave his death on Trevor. What do you guys think about that? There are many theories connected to the three protagonists of GTA 5, but this is the one that sounds the most believable. Each character represents a different era of GTA games. Trevor represents the chaotic and absolutely crazy era of the early top-down GTA games that were unhinged like our Canadian guy. Franklin, on the other hand, represents the ambitious 3D universe like Vice City and San Andreas when GTA was setting new standards in gaming. And finally, Michael reflects the more refined, mature era of GTA 4 and GTA 5, a calmer, post-success vibe that focuses on storytelling and complexity. Rockstar has always had a knack for including cheeky little details in their games that poke fun at celebrities or even politicians. Many of us have seen The State of Happiness and thought it was simply a recreation of the Statue of Liberty, but some eagle-eyed fan made a striking discovery suggesting how it resembles US Senator Hillary Clinton. And the reason why Rockstar did that was because Hillary was one of the critics who suggested the new regulations for video games after GTA San Andreas hot coffee controversy went viral. To further support this theory, you can actually see this model holding a cup of coffee instead of a book, which is wild. Let me know if you have noticed that already. Lester is the guy who keeps tabs on everyone.
In his research, Dr. Morrison identified a paradox.
Heck, he even learned about Michael and his secret deal with the FIB, even though Michael was trying to lay low. So how could he not know about Trevor, who wasn't even trying to hide and had a whole illegal drug business going under his own name? It only makes sense that Lester knew what Trevor was up to, but he chose not to share that information with Michael. Maybe he didn't want to stir the pot, or he didn't want Michael to get spooked. Either way, it feels like Lester had more cards up his sleeve than he let on. Apparently, Lester also knew about Nico being alive. In the mission where Lester and Michael are trying to put together a crew for the next robbery, Lester mentions that there was this Eastern European making moves in Liberty City, but no, he went quiet. We're sure he was talking about Nico, who, according to Lester, went quiet, but not quite dead, because thanks to his Life Invader page, we know he's pretty much alive. So if Lester knew Nico went quiet, it's likely he also knew Nico had retired. Do you remember that scene where Big Smoke puts in that ridiculous fast food order? At first, it seemed like he was just hungry or ordering for the whole crew, but some fans think otherwise. The theory is Big Smoke was just trying to kill some time because he knew the balls were about to ambush them and wanted to keep everyone in one spot. And when the shootout begins, notice how Smoke doesn't even bother to fire back, claiming he's too busy eating. Coincidence? I think not. Alright, here's one for the conspiracy theorists. Some fans actually believe that GTA games are set in hell. All the NPCs and characters are sent there to relive their worst experiences, as well as traumas. That's why no one ever truly dies. They just respawn, doomed to repeat the same mistakes over and over. It's all just part of their eternal punishment. Trevor might have killed his parents, but our guy Franklin wasn't lucky enough to know them. His father is thought to have died while he was just 3 or 4 years old, while his mother overdosed shortly after. While some fans think that Frank's dad might actually still be alive. Inside the shores, there's a lonely old guy with the last name Clinton who's said to have served in some war, which made him this way.
War crimes? War crimes? What's a war crime? Losing! That's the only crime. That's the only crime.
Could it be Frank's father, who abandoned his family after struggling with the trauma of war? It's a wild guess, but in the GTA universe, you just never know. I am sure you all remember Zero from San Andreas, the guy who came up with one of GTA's most hated RC plane missions ever. Well, some fans believe he's changed his identity to Lester from GTA 5. I mean, the timeline certainly adds up. Zero was in his 20s back in 1992, and by 2013, Lester was in his 40s. Both have a knack for technology and developing some deadly gadgets, like Lester's explosive device that he uses to kill Norris on live TV. It's crazy, but it doesn't sound impossible. I mean, Zero could have reinvented himself as the mastermind we all know as Lester. Have you guys ever noticed how each character has a different smartphone? Some fans have made a connection that the smartphone they're using actually represents their personality or social status. Michael uses an iPhone because, well, he's a rich guy. Franklin uses an Android phone because he's your average user who's more into tech than Michael. And finally, Trevor uses a Nokia kinda sturdy cell because all he cares about is having a reliable smartphone that lasts longer with its rough use.
It looks like a Windows.
Rockstar has always been great at leaving certain details open to interpretation, and one mystery the fans love to theorize about is Trevor's father. During the scene, when Trevor confronts Deborah and Floyd in their apartment, Trevor says how he had a difficult childhood and his father wasn't nice to him.
Right, I had a tough upbringing. My daddy was not nice to me.
And we know how things turned out in the end, with the couple found dead in their apartment. It wouldn't be too far-fetched to think Trevor could have had a similar fate for his father, but Rockstar never confirms it. However, it certainly adds an eerie layer to Trevor's troubled backstory. Here's a wild one that might sound too out there, but hear me out. Some fans believe that the healthcare system in GTA is so advanced it actually has the ability to resurrect people from the dead. Now before you roll your eyes, think about it. We've all seen how first responders in the game can revive people in seconds, even if they have just been blasted to bits. Some fans argue that this technology could explain why the world of GTA feels so reckless and dangerous. If people know they can just be brought back to life, then that isn't really a big deal. It's a bizarre theory, but when you consider how over-the-top and absurd GTA's universe is, maybe it's not as far-fetched as it seems. It was odd to have a protagonist in GTA 3 who couldn't speak while the rest of the people could. Rockstar did give us an explanation for that. However, that hasn't stopped fans from coming up with their own wild theories. There's one that I find particularly interesting. The theory suggests that Claude's inability to speak is a result of a bullet wound from Catalina that severed his ability to talk. The bullet might have damaged his throat or the surrounding areas, leaving him unable to speak, but still able to grunt or make noises when he was in pain. This has certainly given the story a much darker twist. This next theory ties the 3D and HD universes of GTA together, and it's a fun one. In GTA 5, during the mission Hood Safari, you can spot 3 guys biking through Grove Street, and they look strikingly similar to CJ, Big Smoke, and Ryder from San Andreas. At first, it seems like a cool callback to the classic GTA moment when the trio rides through Grove Street in the first mission, but as you get closer, you realize they're not the same characters. Fans have debated endlessly about what this means, but it seems just like a cheeky nod to GTA San Andreas, perhaps to keep the memory of the old Grove Street gang alive.
Invented, reinvented, invented, reinvented, invented, reinvented, invented, reinvented, invented, reinvented.
I'm sure you guys remember Smoke's betrayal in GTA San Andreas. It really took some of us by surprise, but the signs were always there, even at the start of the game. Remember when CJ returned home for his mom's funeral, and Big Smoke popped out of the kitchen, almost bashing CJ with a bat? It was rather weird. I mean, what was he even doing in the kitchen when no one was home? Well, the theory suggests that Smoke was actually there to take out Sweet. He'd always been eyeing the top spot in the hood, so with Sweet gone, Smoke could have taken control. But when CJ unexpectedly shows up, Smoke's plans gets interrupted, and he has to come up with a quick excuse and act like nothing was wrong. You know how when we are first introduced to Grove Street in GTA 5, we notice how the whole hood is filled with ballers, and we hardly see any GSF members. It seems the ballers took over the hood, but there are some wild theories as to how that might have happened. Some fans think that the 2 games exist in 2 separate eras, hence there was no CJ to help GSF fight back, so the ballers slowly took over. But the theory that I find more believable is that the Grove Street families just sort of faded away over time. Lamar even mentions how GSF members left gangbanging behind them to become powerful CEOs and stuff. It's a subtle but interesting hint that GSF started focusing on more legitimate paths, leaving their old criminal activities behind, and so it gave Balls an opening that they took advantage of. And this next theory even has some evidence to support that. In GTA 4, some eagle-eyed fans have spotted this billboard, which kinda shows CJ as this businessman. This suggests after the events of GTA San Andreas, CJ left a life of crime behind and became a successful businessman. I mean, it makes sense because he added properties and the money to go legit, which might also be the reason why the Grove Street family lost control, because without CJ, they never really stood a chance. Now, guys, before talking about this next theory, I'm gonna give you a little heads up as this might spoil the LA Noire story for you. But if you have played the game, you know how Cole Pelps, the protagonist, dies in the sewer after getting swept away by a massive flood. We never really saw his body, but many believe that his body is actually hidden in the abandoned mine shaft in GTA 5. When you go inside the mine, you can actually see a dead body, and all signs lead you to believe that Cole Pelps, the way he's dressed, the circumstances in which we find the body, and the fact that Rockstar loves connecting their games with one another, could this actually be Cole Pelps' body? Let me know what you guys think about that. You remember the Big Score mission where the 3 protagonists tried to pull off this massive heist together. When they enter the bank, they meet the manager who goes through each of their IDs. Michael and Franklin pass through without issue, but when it's Trevor's turn, there's a noticeable pause. While some may think it's just Rockstar building up tension for the scene, there's a theory that suggests the manager recognizes Trevor from the first prologue heist. Now I know all of them had masks back then, but the thing is, Trevor takes off his mask when he exits the car. His face is clearly captured on a security camera and later shown in the news. So when Trevor walks into the bank for the big score, the manager might actually recognize him from that incident. Trevor killing Johnny Klebitz was one of the darkest moments in GTA 5, which kinda triggered Lost MC to find and kill Trevor. So apparently they come to Trevor's trailer, but when he wasn't there, they ransacked his trailer. However, some fans believe that it might have been Ron behind the mess. He obviously had the motive, and he knew he could put the blame on the biker gang. Was Ron actually lying, or was it truly Lost MC who did it? Let me know. I'm sure you guys remember the Altruist cult. the creepy old folks in GTA 5 with a taste for human flesh. But here's a wild theory that could probably even be called fact today. Trevor might actually be one of them. It sounds insane, but hear me out. Rockstar never spells it out. There's some solid evidence. Take that scene where Trevor offers Michael a bowl of stew. Michael takes one look and immediately nopes out, pointing at something suspicious in it. Trevor, being Trevor, of course, he shrugs and says it's probably an eyebrow before eating the whole thing himself. He even throws up at the end, which definitely suggests it wasn't something normal. You can also hear him sometimes say things like, "I don't like Indian people," or something like that when loading into GTA.
Never eat Indian people.
This one's pretty wild, but think about it. Michael always talks about how he has two different personalities in his therapy sessions. He talks about how one part of him is just trying to live a normal life, while the other is a reckless, crazy guy doing insane stuff. And he's right, because we don't usually see Michael do crazy stuff like Trevor or Franklin, but when we do take over as players, we make him do some reckless stuff, which is why Michael feels like he loses control over his body. Alright, this next theory is more of a stretch, but it suggests that GTA games are actually Hollywood movies. Yeah, I know, we know Rockstar takes inspiration from movies for their games, but what if the games themselves were movies? Think about it, everything in GTA is so over the top. You're pulling off insane heists, dying doesn't mean anything because you just respawn, and the cops are ridiculously reckless. Almost like they're acting in a movie scene. The ability to spawn cars and get whatever you need makes it feel like a director's toolkit. I know it sounds crazy, but at least we're not in hell, right? Do you guys remember the Hang 10 mission where Trevor finally confronts Deborah and Floyd at their apartment? An argument starts between the three, and the next thing we know, Trevor comes out all covered in blood and everyone thinks he killed both of them. However, according to a more logical theory, it was Deborah who killed Floyd because he threatened the two with a knife, while Trevor stabbed Deborah, getting the knife from Floyd after he got shot. One dude actually used a mod to get into the room to show us the aftermath of the whole murder scene. We talked about Trevor's dad, who he might have killed, but what about his mom? She's alive, right? We see her pop up at Trevor's trailer out of nowhere, so she must be alive, unless Trevor made the whole thing up in his mind. There's a pretty good theory out there which suggests Trevor's mom didn't actually show up, but it was all Trevor's hallucination, because he feels guilty for taking her life. And it makes sense, because the second time Trevor comes back to his trailer, she's just gone, simply disappears without a trace, making Trevor lose his mind again. Speaking of Trevor's hallucinations, there is another theory that claims even Trevor's rampage moments aren't real either. These are also just his mind cooking up scenarios as to what Trevor could have done. Take that one time when Trevor started going off on the military guys mocking his Canadian accent. According to this theory, none of it really happens because there are no wanted stars popping up and no mention of these crimes in the news the next day. Something we usually see in GTA after a big blowout. So what do you guys think? GTA 6 release has put a pause to World War III. Yeah, this is definitely the craziest theory here, and it's actually a theory that I could almost understand. Who doesn't want to play GTA 6? I mean, even world leaders would want to play the game, right? Imagine Kim Jong-un. He's probably already threatened the Rockstar HQ, saying he will nuke them if they don't give him an early copy of the game. I'm sure Kim Jong-un is already there, playing through the storyline and just having a blast with his command. Anyways, let's get on to the next one. You know how cops in GTA games are always on your case for every little crime, but they never seem to care when you're speeding past them, driving through traffic like a maniac? Well, there is a theory from Tom J. Slade that explains why. According to him, you're never actually breaking the speed limit in GTA, because the in-game time is way faster than in real-world time. Every 2 seconds in real life equals 1 minute in the game, so even if you're driving the fastest car in the game at top speed, it's technically still too slow to break any speed limit. Now that's one big brain theory right there. I
was gonna sleep in late, but then I got high. I was gonna let that heal, I'm not gonna lie. Why, man? Yeah, but then I got high. Baby, but then I got high. Yeah, but then I got high.
I'm in danger.
You're deeply in danger. Yeah.
Always wondered why Rockstar gave us 3 endings in GTA 5, with 2 of them ending up in Michael or Trevor's death, and one of them where everyone survives, but never an option where Franklin dies. Don't get me wrong, I love the Death Wish ending, but here's the thing. Apparently, Franklin was originally supposed to die. According to fan theories, Lamar would have replaced him as the playable character after Franklin's death, and honestly, it makes sense. Lamar's animations and interactions are way more polished compared to other NPCs. Even Lamar's voice actor, Slink Johnson, hinted that his character was meant to play a bigger role in the story, but due to some real-life issues, he couldn't finish his voice work, and Rockstar had to make some last-minute changes. Most of us yes accept the crime-ridden world of GTA as it is, but one Reddit user has come up with a theory that actually explains why the world is so full of crime and why the government seems so powerless to stop it. According to the theory, the business plot, a real-world conspiracy from 1933 where powerful businessmen tried to overthrow the US government, which failed in real life, but it might have actually succeeded in the GTA universe. If that's the case, the GTA government would essentially be run by these wealthy elites, which explains why influential people get away with the most outrageous crimes, even murders, and it almost feels like the entire system is rigged to protect us with power, leaving the rest of the world to do whatever they want. Continuing with the wild theories, there's one more that I really like. According to this, all the NPCs in GTA games are being tracked by insurance companies. You might have often wondered how cops know when.
This is a long video, man. I'm not about to watch this whole video. I hate his grammar, man. I hate a lot of things about this video. But it's not that type of reaction. Anyway.